into that. Anything to add, Shug, before I move forward?
No.
Okay. So this is where I feel like it gets where I, at least for me, gets a little bit wordy, because there's so much on this slide and you really have to hone in, because if you don't hone in now, just like when you're doing the 4 quadrants in the life insurance quadrants in the QA presentation, they're going to start asking all of these questions later, or kind of hit you with certain objections later. So make sure you really hone in on explaining this, and really the 3-part process, like this slide, the next slide, and then I go into my own whiteboard drawing, which hope you guys can follow later, just so that they know that their goal, like a number goal in their training, is what it is. So this is how the field training bonus works, Shug. So for the first 90 days, and I know you're gonna have some questions, so just write down your questions. Let me just explain this first, okay? Hold that thought, just in advance. So for the first 90 days, after you submit your IBA, independent business application, like you did yesterday, for every unit of 1 recruit by 1,000 in field training observation premium you achieve, that's $200 of a field training credit. So let me explain that again. Now, the company gives you 90 days from the date you submit your application to achieve every bonus you can get worth $200 each, okay? Now, just because the company gives you 90 days doesn't mean we should wait 90 days to get paid, right? You want to get paid sooner than later, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, so you just came in to the standard hierarchy. Our hierarchy, our team is like no other. We're the #1 in the whole nation. So we do things within 30 days. So every unit of 1 recruit, that's somebody who submits their $124 to pay for their licensing fee, and then 1,000 of a client in field training observation. I'll explain what 1,000 means later. Every unit of 1 recruit and 1,000, the company will pay you $200 of bonus credits that will be banked. Now, why is it banked? Because one, we want to make, first of all, we want to make sure that sooner than later, you're going to get licensed. In between, you have to be present to observe the sales process. But in order to remain at the full credit for each unit of 1 recruit by 1,000, you have to complete your pre-licensing, your full studying in your first 60 days. Again, just because it says 60 days does not mean we're going to wait 60 days to complete our licensing. Now, if you don't complete your pre-licensing or you're studying like I tell you to do, I'll give you that schedule. If you don't follow it, you don't follow your studying schedule and complete it fully, the company will cut your bonus in half, and that's not fun at all, right? Yeah. And the reason why, again, we don't also want to wait 90 days to finish all of our studying and our training is because, isn't it true that your state is, the state of Michigan is not always the most efficient or works on your time all the time, right? DC is not the most organized. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
So we can only control how fast we move. We can't really control how fast the government moves. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Perfect. So just to expand more on the training bonus. So every 1 by 1,000, and usually I zoom in, guys, so that there's not too many numbers for them to look at. I zoom in at the 1 by 1,000. Every 1 by 1,000 should, plus you getting licensed, that's $200. But because there's no maximum, and you told me earlier you wanted to make just $2,000 part-time, right? Why not just shoot to make $2,000 in training as a bonus by doing 10 by 10,000, 10 recruits through the webinar, 10,000 through field training? Why not just shoot to make $2,000 of a bonus with me doing the work for you by doing 10 by 10,000 in training? So when you get licensed, you're guaranteed to make more, right? So that's how I introduced that, guys. So how did I do that? Earlier we didn't go over today, but in the field training bonus, the fast start meeting, everyone on this training, if you're doing fast track meetings or your trainer is, everyone needs to be going over that recruit's goals. If you don't know why they're here, you can't use it as leverage. You have no hot buttons to press. So if they told you they wanted to make an X amount of money, let's say Shug said she wanted to make 1,000 part-time and 2,000 full-time. I'm still going to shoot for the 2,000. My goal is just to make sure they do 10 by 10,000. So I'm going to find some way, somehow, to lead them into 10 by 10,000 with that dollar amount. Anything to add, Shug?
No, not yet. No.
Okay, perfect. So this is how I finish up the first half before we go into actual before we go into actual calling and the 4-minute name game. So I open up a whiteboard and I say, well, Shug, now how does this bonus really work as far as the 1,000? Because what is 1,000 mean? Because the one recruit is somebody who comes in and wants to work with us and get licensed. But the 1,000, if that's the client, does that mean that the client pays 1,000 upfront? No, but they eventually do. So what does that mean? In our company, the first license you're going to get is in life insurance and annuities. The second license is securities, aka your investment license. Because the first license is life insurance, we have to make sure that you learn how to acquire that business first, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the life insurance industry, the average client pays $200 to $300 a month for their life insurance. That's too much money, right?
Yeah.
So what we do is we go in, we don't sell life insurance, we replace life insurance. And we go in and we help them just switch over and pay less, $84 a month. So we save the average family already $120 that we can help them put back into their savings. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now that 84 a month times 12 months is 1,000 in the year. That's where you get the 1,000. That's called premium, Shug. Just like auto insurance, health insurance, that's life insurance premium. Follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So every one recruit by 1,000 here that you see is $200 of a bonus. So right now, the company actually has a surprise for everyone. All new recruits, because of the pandemic, they didn't just raise the license representatives pay, they also raised the recruits, the new people, the new teammates compensation. So now instead of every one by 1,000 being 200, surprise, surprise, it's $300 now. So you get paid more for the same work now. Isn't that great?
Yes.
But I'll still use 200 not to confuse you. So just stick with me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to go through 3 phases here. The first phase is called a trainee. Our goal is to do 10 by 10,000, 10 recruits through the webinar that I help you with, 10,000 through the field training observations that I also help you with. Our goal is to go through 10 of those field training observations, because if you see me do the same thing 10 times in a row, you would learn that, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Now, each of those field training observations, because they know you and they're helping you with training, each of them is guaranteed to give you 3 to 5 referrals. So if you're doing the math, 10 times 3 or 10 times 5 is 30 to 50 referrals. So now, once you're licensed, you're trained, you have 30 to 50 referrals or 30 to 50 potential clients waiting on you, and a $2,000 bonus that just got paid to you finishing your training the right way. Now you're trained. What do you do now? You're a soloist. You say, Jen, what do I do? Well, you got trained for a reason, right? If you were part of the process and learn how to do 10 by 10,000 in training, wouldn't it be easier for you to do it now on your own?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So now all you have to do is do 10 by 10,000. But how? The 10 recruits, where are they going to come from? Well, before, didn't you bring in 10 teammates in the beginning?
Yes.
Half of those people will quit and half of those people will stick, just like anywhere you've worked in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the people that stick, they're still going to want to get trained and get their bonus too, wouldn't they?
Yes.
So while you're learning how your vibe is, how your style is in the field with clients, who do you think is going to train your team for you if you're not the trainer yet?
Yeah.
Me, right? And you're
Mm-hmm.
still going to get compensated from that production as well. So you're not just getting compensated from your production, but also me training your team. But where do you get this 10,000? Well, didn't I help you get 30 to 50 referrals in the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
If you have people waiting on you, wouldn't it make sense to call them?
Yes.
And you'll still probably need my help a little bit, but you'll be a little bit more independent. Make sense?
Yeah.
So as a soloist, you had a 35% contract, and 35% of 10,000 is 3,500, more than what you said you wanted to make, right?
Yeah.
The good news is that's still the same exact amount of work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's still 10 hours a week. Isn't that great?
Yes, it is.
Yep. Now let's say you say, well, Jen, I know you're a trainer and I know you're getting paid more. Absolutely I am, because I'm training people. You ask me, Jen, can I please be a trainer? I want to train now. Can I train? I want to make more. That's fine. I trust you because you've been doing this consistently now. So as a trainer, the difference is you're not the trainee. Again, you're the trainer. What do? Just another 10 by 10,000. How? Making sure that the last 10 recruited the new 10. And this new 10,000 came from more referrals because you learned how to expand your market more, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
The good news, the value though that you bring now is not just to your business training your teammates, not just to you and your family training teammates, but also the company. So as a trainer, now your contract now is at a minimum starting off 50%, and 50% of 10,000 is 5,000 minimum. And this may not happen in 30 days or 60 days, but it sure can happen in 90 days, 120 days or more, depending on how fast you want to move. However, you cannot be a great trainer unless you're a great trainee first. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, so let's get started. Any questions?
No
Yep.
question.
Awesome. So that's how the first half of the Fast Start meeting goes for us guys, because we just want them to know if they do 10 by 10,000 in training, think about it. They're more likely to have that in their mind as a standard already, right? Who cares about 3 by 2,500 as a district leader? That is way too minimal. We are the standard hierarchy. We don't want to do minimal numbers. If they do, great. They still get promoted, but a strong person that goes district, a strong person that goes division, they play up. And we want them, if the company is trying to teach us how to play up, don't we want to align with the company too, the way that everybody is going? So this was just created as far as a dialogue to make sure that we set the expectations in the front end, because even if they don't do 10 by 10,000, which we know most people don't, right? They're still going to fall short and still be promoted. Think about it. And our whole goal is to build district leaders so that we can build them and then build us and Shaq and everyone else above. So it just kind of aligns, if that makes sense. Anything to add, Shug?
So one thing I will add is rewatch this and utilize that, because the question, I'm really big on overcoming objections before they happen. I'm really big. I don't want to wait for the objection and then have to, now we're doing this back and forth verbal gymnastics about something. I already know what's going to happen. So like overcoming an objection before it happened is like the key to it all. So if you break down, everybody asks you the same things. Okay, so after I get trained, what am I going to do? Jen already explained, so you don't have to get the question. So you don't have to have that uncomfortability of you asking a question and them asking you another question. So breaking it down like trainee, soloist, trainer, that's really good. And it's always about asking questions. So I really feel like everybody should just rewatch this and just write down all of the questions and then give it to your team, because everybody needs to use the same questions as Jen already using. And in the upfront, have an objective. Like, I'm not going to ask Cheryl because I know you already know this. So Jawan, I'm going to ask you this. When you're because I told you this last week, so I just want to know if I planted the seed and you remember, okay? When you are sitting down, you're having a fast start or you're having a work session with one of your guys, what is the objective?
Can you repeat the question again? I'm sorry.
No worries at all. So when you're with your guys for a fast start, and you build their inventory, you got all their names and numbers, what are the main two objectives for you? You got their numbers, you got their names, you know who they are to them. We know it's M, A, C, and O. What do you do next? What's the objective?
That the potential recruit is gonna have?
Yeah, what are you gonna do with them? Now that you finished all of that, what's next? And that's okay, because now everybody's main objective, and this is what I didn't know until Jen told me she was doing work sessions. I'm like, okay, I'm doing work sessions, but like, what I'm supposed to do at the end of it? We're just talking. The main objective is set 3 appointments, get almost 3 potential teammates, okay. Right? You want them to send a 3-way text out. You want some people to respond. You want to call those people back in front of your guys. You want them to hear how you sound the steam script to their people so they can be more comfortable to send you more people to build their team. Absolutely. You want them to get that, right?
Absolutely.
So you get those names and numbers. All right, who your top 10 people for your team? Xing that in the upfront. After we do the numbers and stuff, we do that fun game. Just tell me who are the top 10 people you would think that you would love to work with. I'll give you a minute. My timer's about to go off because I want them to think of 10. But then you're going to send a text message, right?
Absolutely.
Write that down. I want you to write that down.
All right.
Okay. So you want to set 3 QAs. You want to call them in front of them. 3 QAs. And the thing is, you don't have to try to put all of this in one time. You may have to break down your fast start into two different sections, guys, and that's okay. But the main objective after you get those names and numbers, 3 appointments, 3 QAs, and at least 3 potential people that's going to be on a webinar. You always want to have a call to action and an objection at the end of everything. What's the purpose of this? Okay, we got the names and numbers, and now what? Okay, I showed you how to evaluate different policies that's going to be in chapter 2 of your study, and now what? We need to utilize this. We need to book some appointments. Every single time you sit down with your guys, I don't care if it's a 30-minute work session, calls need to be made in the upfront or the end. I always say in the upfront because that's how you control your time better. Set those 3 appointments. Make sure that you have reached out to 3 people, 4 potential teammates. So you want to have a balanced business and show them how to have a balanced business. Now, does anybody have any questions? Any questions? Hold on, I know Sarah had a question. I saw when you typed it up. Hold on, Sarah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I put mine in the chat.
Oh, there you go. Okay, hold on. Wait. It's $5,000 a month a too low goal for a new recruit? I thought it was when my newest direct said that was her goal. Would you recommend having an iPad? Is that a second one, Sarah? Would you recommend having an iPad when you use the whiteboard to draw? Yeah. So yes, for the second one, I recommend you having a whiteboard. Using an iPad, a tablet, or your computer, you can use a whiteboard right on top of it because most people are visual. When you're saying a whole bunch of words, they can't see it, so they're missing majority of the information. So if you know how we absorb information, you hear it, you see it, you repeat it back, then they can understand it. So yes, have the whiteboard. But if somebody else's goal is $500 to $1,000, that's fine. That's fine if that's their goal, but you're going to push them more. You're going to tell them that. But you're not going to tell them if $500 is fine. You're not going to verbally tell them that. If they say $500 to $1,000 is their goal, okay, you write it down. But when you get to the fast start and you're letting them know, well, how about we shoot for $2,000 since I'm doing all the work for you? Like Jen said, ask a question. But if they say that, go ahead.
Sorry. So sometimes, we forget that we come from the corporate world and the normal world. I was just talking to somebody's mom yesterday. She was like, wait, how much can you make? Wait, what? She's like, wait, so can you do more than 10 hours a week, right? And I'm like explaining the system to her. And she was like, hold on, you're telling me. And she just couldn't believe it. Sometimes we're so wrapped up in Primerica land that we forget that this stuff is not normal to people. So when people say 500 to 1,000, that's normal to them. Lisa Jones came in for 500, right? Tanya Poe came in for 1,500, right? So don't think that that's not normal, because to them it's their normal, right? To us it's not. You just don't react to it. And when they say that, what Bruce taught us on our double digit call so much, which everyone on this call should shoot to either get on or get back on, DDR, guys, is the answer to your success here in business, because once you DDR, then you can teach somebody else to do so, and then you explode. So Bruce said in the beginning, how many of you are asking in the beginning what would what would take for the new recruit to go for full-time, right? So in the goals, I always ask, hey, I'm not saying you go full-time, but let's just pretend you do decide for some reason to go full-time. How much would you need to make here in order to go full-time and forget your other job? Whatever number they say. Some people say 2,000. Some people say 1,500, right? The good news is, you can help them immediately with that and they'll go full-time quicker, right? Think about it. It's good for you if they have a lower goal, because it's more possible for you to even get quicker results for them, because there's only one app that you really need to get for them, right? Or 2, max case. So then I scale it down and say, okay, but how much would be enough for you part-time? I'm just trying to get the fast start bonus aligned with their income goal. That's all I am. So I'm just like you're asking how much money you waste, Mr. and Mrs. Klein, in the beginning. You're just trying to match it up with that max case later. That's all it is, right? you have a goal in the field, the QA, to close a max case. So you want to make sure that you figure out they already wasted money, so they already have it ready, right? In the recruit's mind, if their goal is 2,000, they got it in their mind already. Let's just attach that to what the field training bonus is, because that's our goal anyways. It's 10 by 10,000, right? Next question.
Does anybody else have any questions? I'm looking at the chat. Yes, to the iPad, you can open questions. I don't see any more.
Going once, going twice. I mean,
Okay.
as you know, do a fast start meeting this week. Thinks everyone should be ready to do a full-blown fast start meeting.
So the main seeds that I'll just plant from this, oh, where do you get these slides? It's on the drive. Fast
Yeah.
start.
Ask Kelvin. Sarah, he'll know where to get it. Your upline. Not everyone asks Kelvin. Ask your upline.
So the seeds that I will plant for what we talked about today and moving forward for this week that I want everybody to implement is asking more questions. Watch this video, rewrite the questions, and go in it asking more questions and being more assumptive. Once I started asking more questions and being more assumptive and not pre-thinking that, oh, they're going to fight me on this and oh, they're going to fight me on this, I know I'm doing them a favor and I'm going to help them grow. So when I became more assumptive and I asked more questions, the fast start started being more fluent and having an objective at the end. I'm always setting appointments. Like this weekend, my guys have like 8 to 9 appointments just for the weekend already set. Just from us doing work sessions.
The weekend.
Yeah, just for the weekend, just Saturday and Sunday, 8.
Jeez. All right, so let me close out really quick since nobody has more questions. I got so much out of the AALC meeting last night, guys. I know I kind of snuck in because I think they kept talking to RVPs. I'm like, oh shoot, should I even be in this meeting right now? Hey, IG gives you a lot of resources, and I came in like, you know, I didn't know it was going on, honestly. So I snuck in late night, and Gary Cornegay or somebody else said, no, it was Ivan Earl. Tanya Poe got on first, and then Ivan Earl closed after Gary. Tanya Poe said, you know, when I came here and I realized that if I go, meaning pass away, if I go before my business is built and I have ownership, then did you know that everything goes to my upline? I told myself, oh no, you didn't. Oh no, you didn't. I gotta build this for myself. So everyone here, if you want ownership and this is something you are investing in, this is something that you're gonna build for you. But you gotta get to ownership as soon as possible. Because in order for Shaq to get to $1 million, everyone's gotta get to 100,000, 200,000, ownership 300,000. It was so amazing. So they recorded it. I definitely recommend everybody get on it. But when Ivan Earl got on, he said, listen, you're building for the long run, right? You're building for the long run. Can you see yourself at 100 grand? Can you see yourself at 250 grand? Can you see yourself at RVP? Can you see yourself at ownership? Can you see yourself at SNSD? Can you see yourself at $1 million? Can you see yourself as a circle of championship, right? Because it's only a short amount of time that we just got to put the time in the front end and build the right way. So if you guys put the right words in the right order, we can really do something crazy with this hierarchy. So I'm so hyped right now. And we only got 5 days left to month end, guys. I want to do something historic in this hierarchy. I want to make sure that Shaq can say, oh my God, I didn't have to touch anybody's clients. I didn't have to coach anybody's recruits. I want Shaq to be able to make $1 million passively because some of us went over 300 grand, 500 grand, or whatever you guys want to make. So let's get these last 5 days started. Go ahead, Shug.
Hold on. Oh, yeah, I just saw Sarah posted something. Guys, when I was getting objections about getting the names and numbers, what I started, because it's different, and everybody that I've been recruiting, it's all been cold market. And so they don't feel comfortable giving names and numbers. What I have been doing is I've been creating this Google spreadsheet that is shared between me and them. And I already have like the labels on it, name, number.